everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel, Poverty Hill Adventures. This video is going to be another video in the Happy Painting series, the Happy Painting series in which we put out a monthly edition of Happy Painting. And unfortunately, I don't have a lot of new paintings to show this this month because I've been busy fishing and turkey hunting and all sorts of other things in the springtime. So I've only got a few paintings to show. But I did want to talk to everybody about a few things related to my painting of saws, and perhaps some of you want to try painting saws. And the first thing that I want to talk about is acquiring saws to paint. And I get them from all different sources, I get them yard sales and barn sales and thrift stores and friends, pick them up all over the place. And just yesterday, my friends Don and Cheryl were at an estate sale, and they picked me up. They were thinking of picking me up some saws. They were thinking of me, and they picked me up some beauties. Let me tell you, there's some really cool old saws here. They got a little bit of rust and crust on them, but we're going to take care of that, and I'm going to show everybody how I take care of that. But I got some cool ones here. There's one, and look at this beauty here. Great big old saw here. Got all the brass hardware on it. There's another old one here. They picked them up for a song. It was the last day of the estate sale, and they got it at, I think, 50% off. Beautiful, beautiful old saws. This one's got a apple wood handle, brass hardware. I think it's a Warranted Superior, but I won't know until I clean it up a little bit. In there was a couple other ones. This one here isn't too bad. This one I'll clean up relatively easy, and we can get a painting on that. And then there was this one. And there's a unique story behind this saw. Beautiful apple wood handle. Got all the leaves carved in it. Brass nuts and bolts. Just a beautiful saw. This is a Disston, and great shape. Great shape. But the interesting thing is, often on these saws that I get, and I've cleaned up and either painted pictures on or refurbished back into working order, at least 150 hand saws and larger crosscut saws. And it's quite common to have the former owners put their names on the handles. They wanted to make sure that their saws returned home when they were borrowed. And this one here has got it's stamped F. Kibler. And I mean, that's cool. I don't know who F. Kibler was, but what is really cool, a really cool story, is I have another saw that I acquired from a completely different source, quite a while ago. And that saw had the same stamp, F. Kibler, on it. So who F. Kibler was and why I got two of his saws, or their saws, at two different times from two different sources, I'll never know. I'm assuming that F. Kibler was probably a company of sorts, and this is an older saw. This saw probably dates back to oh, I'm guessing the 30s or 40s. So maybe F. Kibler was a hardware store, or perhaps it was a business, carpentry or cabinet making or whatever. This was not a cheap saw from back then. So how cool is that to have two saws, both marked from the same person or company? I thought it was fascinating. And what I like to do with these saws, whether I'm going to refurbish them to use, or in most cases I clean them up and then I put paintings on them. What I like to do is I don't like to clean them up to the point where they look brand new. I like to leave some of the history on them, and especially on the wooden handles. I like, if somebody scratched their name in there, I leave it in there. If somebody put some identifying paint on it, I try to leave a little of that in there. The bangs and bruises, I try to leave those in there. Any homemade repairs to the handles, I don't try to fix them. I just try to preserve them, and I just think they tell a cool story. So acquiring saws to paint is a bit of an adventure. I find it fascinating. I mean, some of you might laugh, but I find it fascinating, these old tools, and it's a lot of fun. And I don't usually pay much more than $3, maybe $4 if it's a really nice saw, and that way I don't have a lot invested. I don't know what a canvas for a painting costs, but it might be right around that $2. And these are my canvases for my saw paintings. So cleaning them up. When I first started doing these saw paintings, I used to dread cleaning them up, But after a while, the cleaning process actually, I've streamlined it some. I've learned a little bit on how to do it a little quicker and a little easier, and I actually enjoy the process. It's actually a fun thing to do. I start with something like this. I'd start with a razor blade and scrape off all the loose rust, and then I get, as long as it doesn't have like a really beautiful etched logo on it or something like that, I get some sandpaper and I sand it off, clean it up a little bit. Take the handles off. Handles usually come off relatively easy. Usually they have brass screws on it, brass screws and nuts, and they come off. Occasionally I'll run into ones that are a little harder to get off. But I take the handle off. I clean up the wood on the handles. I don't go overboard on it. I like that old look, that old look. And then what I do is, while it's apart, I'll give the blade a coat of spray clear coat. And I found that the paints that I use adhere better to if I put that clear coat down first. Or if you were so inclined and you wanted to spray paint the blade some sort of, color for a background for your paintings, you could do that. I've done that a few times, but I really prefer to leave the metal in a natural state, even with some of the patina. These are carbon steel blades, and they get like a patina like you'd see on old carbon knives, and I think it adds to the painting some. So I got the clear coat on. Once that dries, then I use just a regular old all-purpose or all-surface, I think it's called, acrylic artist paints. They're relatively cheap. You can buy them at some of the big box stores, pretty darn cheap. And that's what I do to prep the saws for painting artwork on them. And then when I'm all done, I give them a very light coat of clear coat over everything. I put the handle back on, then I give it just a real light coat of that, kind of to protect it from scratches, and if you were displaying them outdoors, it makes them a little more weather proof. There are some challenges to painting pictures on old saws. I like the hand saws. I've done several larger crosscut saws, 1- and 2-man crosscut saws, and they're fun. They're fun, but I find these a bit of a challenge, because you have to, whatever your subject that you're going to paint, it has to either be tall and narrow or wide and short. So you have to kind of figure out how you're going to compose your painting and how it's going to fit in the shape of a handsaw. And it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of fun trying to figure out how you're going to do that. Certain subjects fit this dimensions better than others. I've done all sorts of stuff. Trees lend themselves very well to saws. Some of my saw paintings I have upright like this. Some I have whatever you'd call this. I guess you'd call it a landscape. And some of them I actually have this way, depending on the subject matter. Option 1 on what to do with several saw paintings that you've accumulated might be to sell them. However, I don't think it's a real good option, to be honest with you. If you're looking to make money, it's not a great option, I don't feel. Most people aren't going to pay much for a painting on an old saw. And I mean, it's not fine art, let's be honest. It's whimsical folk art, and if you're an artist like myself, you're not very good, and people aren't going to pay a lot. The saw painting may bring a smile to their face, and they might like it, but they're not gonna pay a lot of money. Let's say they're willing to pay $20 for a saw painting. Well, you gotta subtract what you paid for the saw, which is anywhere between maybe $2 and $4. Whatever the cost of the paint and brushes, they're inexpensive, but it's still a cost. So let's say let's make it $3 in materials, just for the sake. So now you're down to $17. And depending on the saw, you got cleanup time in there. A saw might take you 45 minutes or an hour to clean up. And then you got, depending on the complexity of the saw and how fast a painter you are, and how long is it going to take you to paint that saw? So let's say you get total between painting, clean up everything, you got 2 hours into a saw painting maybe. So you're not even making minimum wage. So there's easier ways to make money than painting saws to sell. Now, I'm not going to discourage anybody from painting saws. I enjoy it. I love it. It's a great hobby. Now, it still leaves us with, what are you going to do with? In my case, I got a pile of them. I had this idea, and it was a cool idea, and if you had the right place to do it, it might be an option for you. And I made my own outdoor gallery in the forest, and I displayed all the saw paintings. I had them all hanging like ornaments in trees, you know, and it was cool. It was cool, and I used to go back to that part of the forest. I had a little bench back there, and I'd do a little sitting and meditating in my own little private gallery with all my goofy saw paintings hanging from the trees, and I enjoyed that, and I had it up for a long time. I had it up for a long time, but the weather started affecting some of them. Even though I had hit them with clear coat, it affected some of them, and you know, it's not a great environment to have anything hanging long term, especially carbon metal and natural wood. So it's an option, and it's kind of a fun option, but it's a short term option. So you're not gonna make a killing selling them. Outdoor gallery, fun, but not a long-term solution as far as I'm concerned. So what are your other options? You can give them away to people. And let me tell you, I have so much fun giving away you know, these goofy, crazy, whimsical saw paintings to friends and family and such. And it's fun. It's fun, and for the most part, I think people kind of get a kick out of having one. You know, maybe like I said, they display it, you know, by the door of their cabin, or you know, hang it in their workshop or something like that. But sooner or later, you're gonna, if you're like most people, you're gonna run out of people to give them to. So the other option, and this was a very rewarding option that I started doing with the paintings, is I've been donating them to different fundraising organizations, and they put them in like a raffle or a door prize, or maybe you know, like these baskets and stuff, and sell tickets, and it's kind of fun. And I think the organizations usually, because they're selling tickets or they're giving them, you know, as a part of a, you know, a basket or something, they're getting more than what you could get if you were to sell this. Like I said, if you sell this painting, you're going to get maybe 20 bucks, maybe 25 if you're lucky. But you can take that same saw, and that organization, that charity or whatever, might make considerably more selling, you know, tickets for a basket raffle or anything. And it's rewarding, especially if the donation goes to a organization that you you know, believe in. There you have it, a few ideas on what to do with your collection of saw paintings. You know, I once read that Bob Ross, the famous PBS artist, painted, I forgot how many, it was in the thousands of paintings, and that those paintings were all sitting in a warehouse somewhere. So probably quite valuable, but my saw paintings are never going to be on the same level as Bob Ross's stuff. So currently, I don't have a warehouse, but I do have a barn full of old saws with crazy whimsical paintings on it, and you know what? I love every minute of it. Not sure if anybody is still watching the video. Probably lost quite a few of them by now. But I want to show you the few new paintings that I have painted this month. The first one I titled, "What's the Worst That Could Happen?" And it's a painting of a great big birch tree huge old birch tree, and there's a beaver chewing his way through it, and he's down to just a little bit left holding that tree up, and the tree's leaning, and guess which way that tree is leaning? It's leaning right towards the beaver who's down there chewing on it. So what's the worst that can happen? The next two paintings that I did this month are repeats. I try not to paint the same subject more than once, but these two are repeats, and they're kind of replacements for ones that I gifted out. The one is a Amish approved chainsaw. The first painting, I had a friend of mine, Joe, who really liked the first version of the Amish approved chainsaw, and I gifted it to him, and it now hangs up in his workshop at his hunting camp. So I wanted another one. I don't know why, but I wanted another one. So I painted another one of the chainsaw on the handsaw. And then I painted actually it's the third one of the Keep On Truckin' Bigfoot. Bigfoot strutting along with the saying, "Keep on trucking." And I had painted it once, and then somebody wanted it, so I gave it to them. And I painted it a second time, a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same subject. And another person wanted it, and I gave it to them. But I kind of like to have one for myself. It's kind of the saying on this channel, Poverty Hill Adventures, "Keep on trucking." So I painted a third Bigfoot strutting along with the saying, "Keep on trucking." And with that, everybody, I'm going to leave you with this episode. The May edition of Happy Painting probably will not be another edition of Happy Painting until the fall or maybe early winter, when things start slowing down and I'm in the workshop painting a little bit more. Until next time, everybody, take care. Remember to keep on trucking. Wait a minute, what do I always say? Until next time, everybody, take care. Thanks for watching. Remember to keep on trucking and believe in yourself even when no one else does.